Greetings, my name is April Manzan of PS Criminology 1 Alpha, and I'm going to discuss how the criminal justice system works from the 5 pillars to their specific purpose in the Philippine criminal justice system. Now, without further ado, the first pillar is the police. The police is known as the first pillar because they are the prime mover of the Philippine criminal justice system. Thus, making them the first pillar, they are the first to contact in the process. Now, when the police apprehends a criminal, suspect, or culprit, there are two ways to arrest a suspect. The first way is arrest with warrant, and the second arrest is the warrantless arrest. First is the arrest with warrant. The arrest with warrant, as the name indicates, that police have a legal document signed by a judge warranting the arrest of a person. Thus, the police will carry out the apprehension or the duty to find the person with the warrant. Next is the warrantless arrest. This type of apprehension do not require a warrant of arrest and has two ways to execute. First is without warrant of arrest made by the police, which is made literally by the police for crimes that occur in their presence and jurisdiction, and that requires immediate reaction, especially in flagrante delicto. Crimes or caught in the act crimes. And the second, without warrant, is made by an ordinary person. Now, this is literally made by an ordinary person who has knowledge of crime or present in a crime scene. Also, in flagrante delicto, events are likely scenarios. It is not a duty but a choice to interfere or wait for the authorities. Okay? After the apprehension, we now move into the second pillar, the prosecution. In this stage of justice system, determination of the legality of the action of the law enforcer and the evaluation of evidence presented takes place. Likewise, presence of probable cause to warrant prosecution, known as the preliminary investigation or PI. It will be determined or conduct inquest proceeding. And to act as a lawyer of the state in criminal prosecution, but the process is different when apprehended with warrant, because it will go on in the different path. The same as when the culprit is apprehended without warrant. Okay? When arrested with warrant, we proceed to preliminary investigation and determine whether there is a probable cause, and if there is no probable cause, the case will be dismissed. And if there is, the prosecutor will file an information to the court, then proceed to the court. But if the culprit is apprehended without warrant, we will go into an inquest proceeding to determine whether the said person should remain under the custody and correspondingly be charged in court, and has two corresponding steps in process: whether to request for preliminary investigation, or PI for short, waiver of Article 125 of the Revised Penal Code, and to proceed to preliminary investigation, and so on. Or not request preliminary investigation, therefore no waiver. There will be no waiver will be provided, and the inquest prosecutor will file an information to the court and proceed to the court. Now, let's go to the third pillar, the court. What is court? It is an agency of the government empowered by the Constitution to determine the guilt of an accused. The process is that the court will schedule an arraignment to proceed to motion to quash with several grounds. First is based on alleged defect in the complaint of information which can be cured by amendment. The court shall order that an amendment be made. And second, based on the ground that the fact charged do not constitute an offense. The prosecution shall be given by the court an opportunity to correct the defect by amendment, and this ground can either be denied or granted. When denied, the court will proceed for the scheduling of arraignment, and if granted or sustained, the court will order that another complaint or information be filed against the accused for the same offense. Next, after scheduling an arraignment is the arraignment and plea. Then, move on to the pre-trial, where specific consideration of the following is contemplated. First is plea bargaining. Second, stipulation of facts. Third, marking for identification of evidence of the parties. Fourth, waiver of objections to admissibility of evidence. Fifth is modification of the order of court if the accused admits the charge but interposes a lawful defense. And sixth is such other matters as will promote a fair and expeditious trial of the criminal and civil aspects of the case. After this consideration, we will proceed to trial, where the case will be decided whether the suspect is guilty or not guilty. If the suspect is guilty, he or she or may not appeal to the next higher court. Then, proceed to the fourth pillar. Okay, let's go to the fourth pillar. The fourth pillar of the criminal justice system is the correction. The correction. The sentence will serve in an institutional correction or non-institutional correction. The two types of correction: institutional and non-institutional correction. Depending the year, sentence, if the sentence is more than 3 years, the Bureau of Correction will accommodate the convict. But if not more than 3 years, the Bureau of Jail Management and Criminology will handle the convicted person, and after serving their sentence, where they will be at the fifth and the last pillar of the criminal justice system, the community, and do their best as a law-abiding citizen. And if settled non-institutional correction, the sentence can be qualified for pardon, which is conditional or absolute, and they are granted by the President of the Philippines. Or probation, if the sentence is not more than 6 years of imprisonment. And last is parole, with specific grounds to meet before granted. The sentence needs to serve at least minimum of his indefinite sentence before he or she may be qualified for parole and reintegrated into the fifth pillar, the community. to be a law-abiding citizen. There you have it. The Philippine criminal justice system. The first pillar is the law enforcement. The second pillar is the prosecution. The third pillar is the court. The fourth pillar is the correction. And the fifth pillar is the community. Thank you. Thank you for listening and watching.